Hello guys. So we're going to start Wednesday out for tonight. Tonight's lesson is there are 4 basic types of minds, and which one do you have? So I'm going to give people time to log on before I start teaching. I don't know why it looks so blurry. Let me get something. Hey husband, bring me something to clean this off. The screen cleaner. So I'm going to clean my screen off really quick. Someone's just joined me. I'm still kind of new to Facebook Live, so I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to see who's on here or not, but if you decided to join me, can you just send me a hey girl or something before I get to teaching? I'm going to try to wait around for like a minute or two and see if anyone else is going to join us before I start teaching. But if you're the one that's watching, I don't want to talk to myself, so let me know who I'm talking to. Last week was pretty good. I got 2 people. Are you guys going to check in and say, hey, Julia, speak to me tonight? Okay, there we go. My screen is a little bit clearer now. Drop a comment. I'm going to give us another minute or two. Or if you're going to say, hey, speak to me. I feel better when I'm not just teaching to myself. Hey, Nikki, thank you. How you doing tonight? How was your day? I'm going to give people like another minute or two before I start teaching. How's everything going with the detox? Are you still practicing some of the stuff? So at this point, some of us have been in a detox more than 7 days. So it's more of trying to make it a way of life instead of just the 7 days. Hey Candy, how you doing? I see you made it this time. Woo! I'm excited. I just was telling Nikki we're gonna sit around for probably like a minute or two at the most, and then I'll get to teaching because there's a lot of stuff I want to cover. But how's it going? Do you guys want to share anything? I know you gotta like type in. It's a little different than last night. Last week. I'm playing between Facebook Live and the webinar thing, so I'm trying to see which one works better when it comes to communicating and broadcasting. So we're gonna try this one this week, and maybe next week we'll try a webinar on the other software. So I'm just trying to learn each one. So tonight, I hope you got your pens and your papers because you're going to take notes. We're going to be talking about the 4 different types of minds, right? And even if you start in phase 3, woo, woo, woo. All right. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. I expect you guys to be taking notes too. So if you can, tonight I'm actually going to teach from a Bible verse, a Bible passage. So the teaching tonight is going to come from Matthew 13. I'm good. It's kind of raining here. It's still cold in Chicago. I'm still wearing literally a sweater and blazers to work. So, but other than that, I'm good. I hope everything is good with you guys. Phase 3 is a pretty fun phase. It's not so much dirty work as it is to looking forward to the future, okay? So we have about 1 minute. As I said at first, tonight's lesson is going to come from Matthew chapter 13, verse 3 through 9. So I'm going to read that, but then I'm going to talk about those, go a little bit more detail in how I interpreted that Bible verse and see what you guys think. As I always say, don't take my word as gold. Take my word as information and figure it out, test it, and see what it's like, okay? So 8:05, I'm going to jump right in here. So Matthew chapter 13, verses 3 through 9. I'm going to read them. So I have it up on my computer right here. So it says, then he told them many things in parables. So what you have to understand what a parable is. It's a way of communicating information in a way where our minds can try to put it into our regular day life, if that kind of sums it up. So, and it's very multi-level. So parables, you can look at them and they can immediately have one meaning, and then you can dive even deeper and get another meaning to it. So these are stories to trying to translate information, right? And the mind, humans, we love stories. That's why we go look at movies. We love people when they tell us stories. So that's what parables are meant for. So Matthew 13, if you're just joining us, chapter 3 through 9, the New International Version says, then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seeds fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still others fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. So let's look at that, okay? Really quick. Let's dive into that. As I said, there are 4 types of minds, and tonight is not to make anybody feel bad where they are. If I read one of these and explain to them what that mind is, and they're like, hey, that may be me. The point is, you can't fix anything that you're not aware of. So if you find, as we go through these different types of minds, that you have one of these minds, because guess what? There we go. It's really raining here, so my reception in my home on my Wi-Fi, I guess, is trying to get a little weak. So anyway, as we go through these descriptions of these 4 different minds, the point is that you understand the 4 types of minds, and then you accept which one of those you are and be 100% honest with yourself, so that you can move from that mind to the mind that you really desire to have, that we all want to have, okay? So let's look at the first type of mind, right? And the first mind comes from verse 4, when it says, some fell along, birds came and ate it up, fell along the path, and birds came and ate it up. So this is our first type of mind, right? We're going to call this mind the unresponsive mind. So if you have your notes, mind number 1 equals the unresponsive mind. So what does that mean? They have pretty much a PhD in negativity, okay? So if you want to sum up mind number 1, they hardly say yes to anything, okay? Everything is a no instantly, right? So they refuse to accept anything new, and they're just unteachable people. Now, if you know anybody like that, because I know a few people like that, and at some point I've probably been that person when I was probably like 18 or 19 years old, because we think we know everything, right? So when somebody tries to teach us something, it's like, no, that's not true. I believe this, or I believe that, or someone says, and instantly you like, no, we're not going to do that. So this person is just like unresponsive. Like nothing you're going to give this person is going to shift them. So think about that. The birds came as soon as something was planted on them. The birds came and ate it up instantly. There was no nothing good came from it. They didn't even get to put a root down, let alone strengthen a root, because instantly it became negative, right? So this is our unresponsive mind. It rarely says yes to anything. It picks apart and destroys positive, and never gives the seed a chance to grow. So they may have ideas for themselves, and instantly, as soon as they say yes, no, yes, no, or no doesn't even happen. Yes doesn't even happen. So that's our mind number one. And we have to sit down and we have to think about, am I that person? When I get an idea, or someone comes to me and says something, do I instantly become negative? When someone's being positive about something, am I instantly like, is the bird coming to take my seed instantly? So if you're that person, this is not to beat up on you. This is to let you know that it's okay. It's a lot of people, and like I said, I probably have been one that had a mind that was so negative, right? So think about that. I want you to sit on that. If you're that person, I promise you, at the end of this, you're going to know that you don't have to continue to be that person, right? So we have mind number one. Now we're going to go to mind number two, which comes from verse number 5. It says, some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. Okay, so this mind we're going to name the shallow mind, right? So we have our unresponsive mind, it's number one, and now we have our shallow mind, right? So these are the people that they have stony minds. So think about the ground. It may have a little dirt there, but it's rocks, mostly rocks, okay? So there's no deepness to the earth. So you can't like go in, like it's instantly like ground dirt, like dirt concrete. So it's really, really shallow. And we call these people like enthusiastic, emotional people. So they're usually emotional and happy about an idea. Every week they have a new idea, or every hour they have a new idea, and they're very excited about it. But none of these ideas take a lot of root, right? Because they haven't it's on shallow ground. They haven't done any work. They haven't made their soil available. There's hardly any soil. They respond ready and eager to any good idea. So I'm going to have to be honest with you. I feel like that I was once this mind too. Like in my 20s, I tried to look at things and figure out where was I or where am I, and that's the whole point of you being here, because you want to figure out which mind you have. And I remember always so excited because I could see the potential in a lot of people idea, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to be eager and I'm going to sell this and I'm going to sell that. I know some of y'all, if y'all been around me a long time, you're like, she did so and done everything, because I was always so excited because I saw the potential of what something could be. But I had no soil. My roots weren't deep. My soil, I hadn't worked on my soil, right? There was no follow through. So these people, like I said, they have really great ideas, but they suck at follow through. So awesome idea comes today. Tomorrow somebody brings something else, but there's no follow through. As soon as it's time to put the work in, they disappear and they're on to the next idea, right? And the crazy part about it is these people ideas, they can succeed in any of them because they're awesome ideas, but they just haven't done the work. So these people have the potential to actually succeed if they allow their soil to become deeper, right? And another thing is they can probably discuss their idea very thoroughly. You're like, oh my God, this person knows this person knows that. They've studied this information inside out, but they haven't done it. So they're really good researchers, but they're really bad at taking action. Like action is a disease to them. The idea is great. The action does not. There's no follow through, right? Okay. They're extreme idealists. They get lost in the idea of going, but they never go anywhere. So they get lost literally in the idea, but they never take off and go. So these people have to learn. They're usually they don't know their true spiritual power. Most of it, that's a lot of the mind too. They think in terms of everything that's already manifested, right? So when I say their soil isn't deep, they haven't worked on the faith part of them. So everything is awesome until they're hit with a mistake or something, or they have to do some work, or things look dark. Then they instantly they think the problem is the idea. What they don't understand is that the problem lies in the fact that the foundation and the soil isn't great. So these people really need to understand that they're more than their physical, because right now all they understand is the physical of things that's already manifested. They don't even really have an idea that they're mind, body, and spirit, right? So they're like, if we were going to put in Toddler, like the mind one is a baby, mind two is a toddler. So a toddler knows that they can walk now. I don't know why that idea just came to me, but a toddler knows they can walk now, but they don't know where they're going, and they don't understand the capability of their body and their arm movements and things like that. Okay, so they're also, with mind number two, there's usually lots of conflict from within. So that conflict within shows up without, because we are only a combination of what we feel we are. So if they're always with conflict with themselves, then they begin to live that conflict, because again, their soil is shallow. So they're always looking at current circumstances. I'm just going between here and there looking at my notes because I took a lot of notes. They don't show so they always going between, they're looking at their current circumstances. Oh my God, I want this, but there's no way I'm going to get this because I don't come from the right place, or I don't have the right degree, or I didn't go to school, or I went to too much school, or no one in my family does this. Everything is very shallow based, right? And I'm sticking on this one for a while because I feel like there's two areas, mind number two and mind number three, that a lot of people fall in, and they might not even be aware. So I want to stick to this because there's this emotion, this conflict inside creates a emotional storm within these people, right? So that's why we call them emotional enthusiastic people. They're very enthusiastic, but then when their plans don't work because they don't have any faith, or they don't understand their power, then you get an emotional storm for them. So stuff ticks them out, or they're always looking at current circumstances. So that's mind number one, is unteachable, unresponsive. Then we have mind number two, as comes from Matthew, says that they fell on rocky soil and quickly was washed away because there wasn't any soil. Okay, so mind number two is the shallow mind. All right, so let's go to mind number three, because I feel like we're probably going to be here for a minute. Anyone have any questions before I move on? Because I'm almost feeling like I like the other thing, because I can talk to you guys. I like to talk. I know this live thing is great, but if you have any questions about mind number one or mind number two, drop me a question in the comment box, and as I go, I'll answer it. So let's go to mind number three. How you guys feeling about these minds so far? You know any people with mind number one or mind number two? Like I said, I think I've been both. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure we're all on the journey of life, right? And all of it is to become more aware and to evolve. So I really believe that everyone has been one of these minds at one point of a time, So mind number three. We're going to call this mind rich with possibilities of a great harvest. So rich, I hope you're taking notes, rich with possibilities of a great harvest. So possibility, let me go, number three. So our verse from the Bible says, But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, withered, because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Okay, so that's mind number 3. I missed mind number 1. Okay, joined in on number 2. Okay, Cassandra, mind number 1 was unresponsive, a PhD in negativity. Okay, so everything no comes before yes all the time. Okay, so as we go into mind number 3, it's rich with possibilities of a great harvest. All right, so let's look at this. They does not, this person, this mind, I know I've been number 2. All right, Candy, that's what I said. I feel like we all been one of these at some point, right? And the point is, like I said, the point of the whole lesson is to figure out what stage you are in and become aware of that stage, so you can say, okay, I was that mind, but I don't have to be this mind forever. Can you give this? Yes, I can give you the scripture. It was Matthew chapter 13, verses 3 through 9. Okay, so now we're at verse number 6, which is, but when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, withered, because they had no roots. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Okay, so that's Matthew chapter 13, verse 3 through 9. So let's look at that. So these people, they do not continue to doing the work. So let's see. Okay, so they do not keep doing the work of daily mental preparation and prayers, right? So they know the possibilities, right? So they're rich with possibilities of a great harvest. They know what they need to do. They haven't made a discipline to continue to do their work. So maybe they manifest one thing in their life, or if they taken one course, or they read one book or a couple books, but it has not become a part of their lifestyle. So that's why we said they're rich with possibilities, right? Because this is what you're going to have to learn. Every positive has, hey, how you doing? So every positive has a negative, right? So if I don't continue to do the work, then when I have a positive idea, I know instantly that I'm going to have a negative, like a negative idea is going to come to me instantly. And if I have not done the work, because these are laws of the universe, there's nothing you can do about it. Every positive has a negative. You can't jump a car without both. All you can do is, we're not trying to change the law. We're trying to learn the law so we can make it work for us. So if I know that every positive has a negative, then I know I have to do the work so that I can stay with my positive seed, instead of allowing the thorns to come up and choke my seed for me, which the verse says that this or the sun come out to scorch it, right? So it said other seeds fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the seed, because you're never going to get rid of the negative, right? That's me. Hey, to be honest, that's me. I'm going to have to be honest with you. It's me sometimes, and I really, even doing this Level Up 7-day spiritual detox group and creating my Mastering Your Vision Board class, it has done more for me than it's done for anybody else, okay? Because it's made me stay accountable for me. Because if I have to get on here and teach you guys on Wednesdays, if I have to coach people in my coaching program, guess who got to be right? I got to be right, right? So this has made me step up, like, to another level. That's what I said like a couple weeks ago, is that when I launched this, it made me step up. When you see me writing my outcomes and checking them off, it's because I know that at one point I was mind number 3, and that on any given month I may be mind number 3, but I know this, so I know what I need to do. Okay, so all of us may be at mind number 3 at some point. So as I said, every positive has a negative. Good you know good and positive, so you believe it. You know it is in you, but you have yet to master it, right? You haven't taken the time to master it. Like, it sounds good, you manifest some things, you feel good, but you're not at mastery level yet, which is okay. Okay, so everybody kind of online right now feel like that they're mind number 3, right? That's me sometimes. I'll be consistent 1 minute, fall off the next, then right back. But I want to be more disciplined. And this is the thing. This was my prayer a couple months ago. I'm like, God, okay, I've manifested $10,000 worth of bedroom furniture. I told y'all that. I've manifested a husband. I teach this. I've manifested a new car, new jobs. I've doubled my income literally from the stuff I know, but my consistency still wasn't there. I would read. I'm a reader because I love to read, but I wouldn't be doing my prayer and meditation, like I was supposed to, or I would journal here and there. It's literally, I'm like praying for discipline, and God's like, well, this is what you got to do. You have to, having other people hold me accountable. So being y'all teacher and having clients, it's making me be accountable, because one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to always be on top of mine. I don't know. That's just how I am. So if I know to make sure I give you guys my all, then I got to do it. Right. So I put myself to become disciplined. I made myself become disciplined. You don't wake up and be disciplined. Right. You make goals, and you every day, in and out, you get up. I tell my husband all the time, I'm working from the time my eyes open to the time they go to sleep. I'm writing down how much water I got to drink. Look at this. Look at this. This is my water in front of me. This 32 ounces of water. I told myself I need to at least drink one. This is my second one today. Some psychologically happens when you write those outcomes, and then I'm checking it off like, yeah, I got that. Or I'm checking it off every day what I put up there. So I tell people, discipline does not happen by wanting it. Like, you have to do the work. So let's get back more into mind number 3. A lot of times in mind number 3, the two sides are always fighting, right? So think about this. You remember back in the day, they used to put the little devil on the shoulder, even one side over here, and then God, the angels, is one side over here, and they would be fighting back and forth. Well, in mind number 3, that's kind of what's going on. I believe this stuff is true. I've manifested this. I manifested that. I feel this way. You know that stuff really doesn't work. It's all in your mind. That you can't create your life. That's just something somebody told you. That's really not true. So in all the time, they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? And that's because you have not did the work. There's no way to knock that little guy off the shoulder but to fuel this one, because this is what you're going to have to know. Sit on this law I'm about to tell you. 2 things cannot occupy the same space. I want you to write that down, because I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to explain about that. 2 things cannot occupy the same space. So if I put my bottle right here on this space, my chapstick, it can't sit there. It's already something right there. So if I have my positive thought, and I'm working on my positive every single day, I'm doing the work. When my negative thought comes, there's no room for it, because I've done work. I occupied this space here. There's no work. There's nowhere that negativity can go, because I'm protecting myself. I'm doing the work daily, right? So understanding that 2 things can't occupy one space, and it comes with thought too. You really can't think 2 thoughts at the same time. I feel like once I'm doing good on one focus, then something else will go wrong, and I have to put that thing on the back burner. It's like a cycle. And I have to go back to, because you haven't really dedicated yourself to the work. So, because what happens is, if you're focusing, let's just say, on your career, and you're doing the work, and your main energy pattern is positive, all that won't be happening over here, because your main energy is positive. I think I talked this before, that you see people that get married, they get new jobs, all this because they're in a space of good energy. So it starts to spill everywhere, right? So if you're doing the work, I have to be honest with you, that wouldn't be happening. Right now, you're half-ass doing the work. Excuse my language, because I'm just going to be honest with you. So you're doing half of the work, and while you're doing that, you're not even 100% so on this in a positive way. So right, so you're half and half on this, and it's causing the inner conflict, which is spilling out in other parts of your life. So that's probably why it looks like that. And cycles, life is a cycle. Everything happens in cycles. So until you break that pattern, that cycle is probably going to continue to show up. I know for sure. I hope that kind of helps. But what I can say, if you're doing the work correctly and you understand the principles and stuff, when you're working on one thing, you're going to be like, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that, and that came through. Oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that, and that manifested. Oh my God, and all the stuff is going to be like, all good things going to start coming to you, right? Because you're doing the work on the soil. So get that. You're doing the work on the soil. And when you do the work on the soil, no matter what seeds you plant there, they'll sprout. So if you're planting good seeds, then if you're planting seeds in good soil, then they're going to manifest what you want, and you won't have this frustration because you worked on the foundation. So if the soil is good, even if we go back to the Matthew chapter 13, the seed was the same. He didn't say, I put a different seed on this ground, I put a different seed on that ground, I put a seed. He said that I put a seed on this type of soil. So when the soil was different, not the seed, the soil, it gave you different, it manifests different things, okay? So it's going to be all about working on that soil. And in our life, our soil is our mind. There's no other way around it. Our soil is our mind. Our seeds are our thoughts that we allow to fall on that soil. Okay? So those thoughts you choose, right? If the soil is good, any seed you put in there is going to get great, okay? It's okay, love. I'm sorry if I got stuck there. Because I don't feel like it's just you. I feel like that question, like sometimes questions come up and it's not just for one person, it's for everybody. So let's continue to look a little bit more into mind number 3. This person gets, okay, so this person also, you're welcome, babe. This person also gets preoccupied and too worried about the cares of the world. So think about this. And I don't want to sound evil, but just hear me out for one. Because you know what? I'm not going to apologize. This is what I believe. All right? So, and like I tell you, take everything and digest it for yourself. If I'm in mind 3, I believe I can manifest what I want, right? But sometimes I'm working with negative people, and I'm hanging out with maybe minds from 1 and 2, and I get too wrapped up in their lives and what it looks like, or I'm watching the news, or I'm looking at Facebook and social media, and I'm looking at all the stuff that they've manifested, and I'm thinking, well, this all can't be true because this wouldn't be happening, or this wouldn't be happening, or that. But I have to tell you, we're all creating at all times. And you may see the outcome of that situation. But when you know and understand spiritual law, just like gravity, you can't do anything about it, it's there. When you understand spiritual law, you have to know that at some level that those people were thinking at that level, right? So I don't know what thoughts people keep 24/7 a day. Like I don't know what they keep. So I can't get too concerned with what they world look like and what works for them, because I don't know the thoughts that they keeping every day. I don't know their dominant paradigm around, let's say, getting married. I can't say, well, everybody in my family are black women or people from single family. Like, that's getting too concerned with the curse of the world. Because I always say, well, yeah, that may be true, but I'm in control of me. I know how this works. So we can't get too wrapped up into, even if looking at the presidential stuff, like some of us are looking at like the health care bill that just passed. I try not to get into too much politics or whatever, because you'll get wrapped up in it. And I look at all that and I say, yeah, that may be true. Some of it, and it maybe I'll have to deal with it later. But I believe that the God that I serve and the person that's inside of me will give everything I need to me. So I see you, I hear you, but I can't get too wrapped up in all that, because then I'm taking away from what I believe and what my foundation is, right? So we still on mind number 3. Still on mind number 3, right? They get too concerned with the process and and this takes away from the principle of faith and spiritual law. So this is when I teach in my Mastering Your Vision Board class, is that the how is not our job. But mind number 3 gets so wrapped into the how that they forget about spiritual law, right? So I can't say how something's going to happen. I have to stand on my firm belief that I believe in spiritual law and the principle of faith. And that's seeing things before it manifests, believing in your heart and speaking into existence. Now, I can't believe that in one breath and then come say, well, how it's going to happen in the second breath, because I'm contradicting myself and I'm not standing on the principles that I know and believe, right? So this is mind number 3. Right? So they know spiritual law in a sense, but they haven't mastered it, and they're too concerned with the how. The how is not your job. That is just not your job. But you're going to have to learn more. You're going to have to create a better soil of mind. You're going to have to study every day. You're going to have to get a coach, even if it's not me. You're going to have to get you got to get somebody that's ahead of you on these ideas and work with them. You're going to have to invest in yourself so you can get good soil, so you can stop having that inner conflict that you have with yourself, so you can have one thing occupying space, so that you can be so firm on spiritual law and faith principles that no thorn is going to come up and choke your seed out. Okay? Because your soil is so good that the thorns disappear, because there's no room for them to exist, right? So when you have an idea and you feel it in your spirit, you know for a fact that it's going to happen, which brings us to mind number 4. All right? So you have to school yourself, if you're on mind number 3, daily. And before I move on to mind number 4, you got to let go of those old grudges. You can't hold on to that stuff and think you're going to get to mind number 4. You have to know what the Bible says. Forgive them because they know not what they do. Right? I look at people sometimes that are evil or mean or negative, and I feel more sorry for them than the people they being mean and angry to, because they got to live with themselves every day. And they have to live with what manifests from that bad soil. And I be like, you know what? I may feel a little certain type of way, but if I had me together, I wouldn't even feel that way. But that person got to live with themselves, right? So when you shift your perception about things that people have done to you, or these grudges you're holding, you wouldn't, because you'll start feeling sorry for those people and send them prayers, because they got to live with themselves and they don't even know what they doing, right? So let go of them grudges, right? Let them go, because there's no room for them in mind number 4, right? So let's move on to mind number 4. What is this? Okay. Mind number 4. We're going to call this, I actually didn't give it a name, so we're going to call this the gravy train. Okay, I don't know where this came from, but that's what we're going to call it, the gravy train, right? Because this mind believes instantly in the infinite possibilities of God, right? They get an idea, they don't say no, like mind number one, or they don't sit on it for 5 minutes, like mind number two, and then off to the next idea. Or they don't allow negativity choke it out like mind number three. This mind number four believes that the idea came from God, right? And if it came from God, then God has the ability for it to come to pass. They get excited in the idea of it because they know if I'm thinking it, so it can be, right? How many of us want to get to mind number four? I want to get to mind number four. How many of us want to get to mind? I need everybody drop an emoji with the hand sign if they trying to get to mind number four. I got 7 people online, and I ain't talking no more till everybody drop the high five sign, because you would not be on my Facebook Live for the last 40 minutes if you did not want to get to mind number four. So drop the sign. Me, or say something if you're ready to become mind number four, right? You're gonna get excited and thank you, Jasmine. Woo woo, Cassandra. Woo woo. We all on our way to Nakia. We all on our way to mind number four. Woo woo, Nikki. There we go. All of us on our way to mind number four. I'm committed to becoming mind number four. I'm willing to do the work in mind number four. And that's what you're going to have to know. You're not getting to mind number four unless you're committed. You have to be committed to the process. You have to be committed to the journaling, to the meditation, to the reading. Woo woo! Kiwani in the house. She committed to mind number four too, right? So what, Candy? There we go. So I got some people that's committed and ready to do the work. What does mind number four look like, right? So they get excited about the idea because they know inside, when you get a seed and you look at the seed, you don't worry about if the seed is going to produce the whoop whoop. You don't get worried if the seed is going to become what it's supposed to become. You know that if you put this seed in the good soil that it needs to be in, and you water it according to its directions. Right now, I wish y'all could see this plant in my house. Like literally, it's like the size of my front room window. Maybe I'll turn the computer around and show it to you. But this plant came in and it was not this big. And my husband sets his alarm every week to feed that plant. If I don't open the windows in the morning before I go to work so that plant can get its sunshine, he gonna give me the business when I come hone. Why? It's huge, Annie Kiwani. Thank you. But why is that plant huge? Because my husband was committed to growing that plant. I can't even tell you. I just opened the window for it in the morning so I can make sure he done made me committed to the process, right? This plant gonna be bigger than my front room in a minute. That's how huge it is. But I give you that example because you have to be committed to the process. You have to, right? So what does this mind number four look like? You can't easily plant evil and negative suggestions in this mind, right? Because this mind so dope. You come to us, we like negativity, negativity. What's that word? Oh, my husband always say, he be like delete, negative, delete. It do own the whole wall in my house. It does. But it matches my furniture, but it owns a whole wall. But his favorite word, if I say something, because I got to tell you, sometimes I be like, babe, he be like, delete. Like he got his repel on, almost like mosquito spray, right? So he delete all negative suggestions. He doesn't even allow it to fall. Like it get blown in the wind. Like it's not even falling up on his soil. It's gone in the wind, right? So this is the kind of mind we're aiming for. We've done the work. You come with us, delete, spray. Your evil suggestions, your negativity about what I'm about to do has no room here, right? So it is also geared towards good. Like we don't want to see. I posted something earlier today. I was like, I stopped being worried about trying to make other people figure out who I really was. All my intentions when it comes to anybody in my life and anybody that inbox me, email me, anything is geared towards good. I want to see everybody win. And if you don't know that about me, hey, I don't have to explain that to you. My heart is good. My intentions are good. We may not have spoken in 50 years, but if I see you, I'm going to be like, you winning. I see you, girl. You winning. You doing your thing. Black girl magic. Yeah, man, you doing that. You doing. So you want to have intentions towards good, even if people getting stuff that you want and you ain't got it yet. Okay, how about that? Some of us can be happy for some people as long as they ain't got more than us, right? So the real test comes in if you can be happy for somebody that just got the same thing you want and you ain't even got it yet. Test yourself and see if you're there that yet, right? So all your intentions need to be geared towards good. So that's mind number 4, and it walks in confidence, not arrogance, because some people like to be thanks, girl. Some people like to confuse confidence with arrogance. Arrogance is like stirring up, I'm better than you. Confidence is I'm good and so are you, right? So I don't have to dim my light and not be confident in myself to make you feel better or to make other people feel comfortable. No, honey, I know who I am. I know what lives in me. I'm late in the it's okay, boo. I see you though. You committed to the process. But I don't have to lack that in myself to make you feel better, right? So I'm confident. I know what lives in me, but not only that, I know what lives in you and you and you and you and you. So I'm going to see her confident in my skills, but I'm going to look at you with what you can be too. I'm confident that if you do your work, you can be the person you're coming to be. So that's not arrogant. That's the difference to me between confidence and arrogance, right? And we affirm life. Like when people are talking to us, we not affirming death, like negativity. We affirming life. Yeah, this ain't gonna happen. Well, it's a possibility. Anything can happen. To be honest, I work in an environment where the majority of the time we're planning things just in case a disaster happens, right? So we're talking about dead bodies, chillers for stuff. We're talking about we may lose 1 million people if something happened in the city of Chicago. So I have to sit through that, right? And I can't, some of the people I work with have like a negativity towards life because they've allowed those ideas of destruction to take over them. And I'm like, you know what? If something happens, I'm going to do what I can do, but I'm not going to be negative every day. I'm not going to allow your negativity to come off of me. They're like, oh my God, wonder if the bomb blew up or something. It could have, like you literally have to start to affirm life. Like, yeah, if that happened, but my God, like that's my phrase for that. Yeah, that look ugly, but my God is bigger than that. Yeah, it looks like I haven't reached my goal, but guess what? I'm going to keep doing the work because my God. So affirm life, right? And mind number 4 closes the door to the flesh and it opens the spirit to God. So when I talk about closing the door to the flesh, it's about closing off from the 5 senses, right? In my Mastering Your Vision Board class, I talk about all that, how to shut off the senses because the senses are going to lie to you, and open your life to the spirit, right? Because in all honesty, we all have 10 senses, but most of us are only aware of the 5. But there's 5 in the physical and there's 5 in the spiritual. And if we're going to become a mind number 4, a 4 type of mind, we have to create those other 5 senses. We have to, right? Because we want to cut off like, yeah, I have a goal of getting here, but everything around me says no. That's the flesh. Cut that off. What does my spirit say? What am I hearing in meditation? What seeds am I planting? So you have to literally learn how to cut off your flesh and activate your spirit. And that's what the things you were supposed to learn during the 7-day spiritual detox when I took you through the 3 phases. So you learn that you're more than your mind. You're more than your body. You're going to activate and plug back in to your spirit. And then you're going to communicate with spirit through your mind. Like all this has a recipe and it all builds up off each other, right? So if you're going to become a mind number 4, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up? Who are you willing to stop talking to? Because some of us got some people around us that we don't have to stop talking to them forever. It's just like right now I got to get me together in order so I can be around you and not catch the flu. You know, like back in the day when the kids got the chicken pox. I remember being young and I grew up with all my cousins and stuff. And one of us got the chicken pox and they was like, let them all go play together so they all could get the chicken pox, right? So then all of us got the chicken pox. One get them and we could be around them because we already had them, right? So we're immune to that. So some of us need to cut ourselves off from some people, some situations, some places, even some TV shows until we get ourselves so good that it bounces off of us, right? So who's committed to doing that if they got to do it? Sometimes I can't have certain conversations. Like when I'm trying to work on me and manifest stuff, yeah, I can't watch that right now. It's not that I'm against any of that. I just can't do it right now, right? Close off your, yes, honey, you got to close off your flesh and open up your spirit. So you got to be willing to do the work. That's my lesson for tonight. 4 minds. Which one do you have? You're committed to it. Now, I do want to put this out here because my Mastering Your Vision Board class is up right now. You can purchase it. I have 2 people online. No, 1 person online right now that's in the class. Cassandra has done coaching with me. She's taken every course that I've built. She's always there. If you are on the fence, Cassandra Austin is her name. Ask her about the class. This is going to the next level. Also, what I'm going to do is, if you sign up for the class tonight, I'm going to put a link in the group and give you a 50% off discount. Not only that, it's Learn and Earn is the program. Cassandra, thanks, boo. She's in the class. We talk during the class. She's not like, when I say this, like my #1 student, like she keep me on my toes and she doesn't even know it. I'm like, this girl, if I got to do this, I got to do this for Cassandra. Like literally, like she's my idea student. But hit her up. Y'all see her name right there. If you on the fence, like, well, should I do this? Should I do that? But something else I'm going to do is that, thanks, babe. When you sign up for the class tonight, I'll put the code in for 50% off. Also, I'm going to be introducing an affiliate program. So what happens is you're going to get 50% off. But then if you share the class with somebody that you think is awesome, oh my God, I'm learning so much, then you will learn, and they sign up, you'll earn 20% of their class. So you're learning and earning, right? So you love this class. You're going to tell people about it anyway. You're going to share your affiliate link and you're going to make 20% off them signing up. The 50% off is only for tonight. For Wednesday night, y'all tuned in. Literally tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm cutting off the 50% code. And then if you love it, you're going through it. The thing about it is you have lifetime access to this class. So repetition is key when it comes. All you guys raise your hand and you say you were committed to doing the work. I'm telling you, between 7-day spiritual detox and mastering your vision board, I took everything I've learned over 7 years, all the books I've read, and put it in the Mastering Your Vision Board course. So if you want to take all the 7 to 8 years of my knowledge, it's in that course, right? So you love the course, you sign up for the course, and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm in it to win. I want to share this with people because my life is changing. Every single person that signs up with your affiliate code, you will make 20% off for the lifetime of the course. All right. So that's what I have here. Any questions tonight about the 4 minds? Now I'm expecting to see some people in Mastering Your Vision Board, because guess what? We all committed to the process. We all said we're going to do what we have to do. And I'm pushing you. I'm pushing you to do the work. I'm pushing you to tap in. I'm pushing you to say yes to your flesh. I'm pushing you to create that mind that's going to believe that as soon as the idea comes, you're ready, right? So we got about 7 more minutes, as I promised. I'll put that. Any questions? Any questions? I know Facebook Live is a little different from last week when we did online. But if you have a question, drop the question in right here, and I'll answer it. But I believe that there are never any coincidences. Like when you're at a certain place in your life and you're praying God to do something. I was just talking to Kiwani. She's on here. I said, we pray. It's like the pastor that prayed, that was in the flood, right? And they're evacuating, and he's like, oh, God's going to save me, and everybody's leaving, and the pastor's like, no, I'm staying here, God's going to save me. So the boat pulls up, and he's like, come on, pastor, let's go. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. And the boat's like, well, we're leaving. And he goes back in the house, and he's praying like, God, save me. And then here comes a bigger boat, and he's like, come on, pastor, you got to go. This is the last boat that's coming in. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. And then the water is getting higher. He decides to get to the top of the roof, and a helicopter comes. He say, no, my God's going to save me. And the helicopter leaves. He drowns and he dies. He gets to heaven. He's like, God, what happened? You didn't save me. He said, I sent 2 boats and a helicopter, and you didn't get on. You have to know when to take massive action, right? So you're praying for something. You're in confusion. I remember I told people all the time, 8 years ago, I used to be on my mama's bedroom floor crying because my life wasn't where it was supposed to be. This ain't what I signed up for. I got a master's degree and I'm broke in every way possible. And guess what? I pray and pray. God, send me a sign. God, send me a sign. And when it showed up, I took massive action. That's the difference between going from mind number 3 to a mind number 4 is the action you're willing to take. So don't be like the pastor and keep praying and saying God's going to save me, and he keeps sending boats and helicopters and you won't take no action. Like, let's be a person that's ready to take action, right? So that action looks like continue to participate in the 7-day spiritual detox page. I post stuff every day. I try to. I'm going to stay committed to these Wednesday nights until God tells me do something else. So tuning in Wednesdays from 8 to 9 and becoming a member of the Mastering Your Vision Board class. Okay, you have to do that. I'm telling you that. And something happens too when we invest in ourselves. When we invest in ourselves, we take ourselves seriously. Like a lot of stuff, I'm like, no, I invested time, energy, money. I'm doing this. And you guys know I'm telling the truth. If I always tell people, want to know where your heart, follow your pocketbook. Look at your bank account. That's when you're going to know where your heart lies. All right. If you look at my bank account now, you come in my house, you're going to see books. You're going to see receipts of courses that I've taken, coaching that I signed up for. I'm committed to me. I'm committed to become a mind number 4. And I hope all you guys are too. So we have about literally 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. So food, honey, believe me. Yes. I remember, I don't even want to talk about that. I'm on a whole journey with that too, right? With the food thing. That's going to be part of my testimony. I'm already seeing the end right now. I just invested, literally. I just took my dollars and invested in a program for me to get my food area right. That's why I say look at your bank account and you will see where your heart follows. I'm committed to that goal, so I invested in that goal. Literally, Monday. Wrote the checks. No, swipe the card. Here you go. Take the money. I'm doing this, right? So what are you committed to? Where does your heart follow? What do you want to do? We all say we're ready for action. So I'm looking forward to talking to some of you and Mastering Your Vision Board. And this is the thing. I remember I wanted to be a part of this group, right? Because they were teaching more, which is where I learned a lot of information from. And I didn't have the money. Like, I felt like it was an awesome thing. I was like, God, I think you're sending me to do this. I think this is the answer. But that price tag, I don't have. You can't give something you don't have. I always believe that. If you don't have it, you just freaking don't have it, right? So I prayed about it. I was like, I think this is where you're sending me. If you want me to do this, I'm believing. I started seeing myself being a part of that group. Within a week, I was in there. God made the way. And I spent 2 years with that group. I learned about energy clearing. They took me to the Bahamas on a trip. Like, I can't even make this stuff up. I learned about numerology. I learned about a lot of my core foundations of spiritual law came from being a part of this group. Like, and I knew it was for me. and I was willing to do the investment. I would be in seminars on weekends for hours. Like my friend, I have a friend named Tan. She's like, girl, you had another seminar? I'd be like, I got to do what I got to do because I asked God for this. He's provided. I'm at that seminar on a Saturday from 9 to 6 p.m. Do you hear me? Learning about me, my chakras, my mind, everything. The things you hear me teach came from me being and investing in that. So 1 minute, I'm going to put the link to Mastering Your Vision Board class with the code for the 50% off. And once you sign up, I'll email you about getting your affiliate links so that you can share it and start making money. So there we go. Coming in under 30 seconds. 1 hour, our power hour for the week. 3 pages of note. Woo, 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 woo. I feel so good that you guys are getting it. Like I feel like this, I just share what God tells me to share, right? So 3 pages of notes, that's awesome. That's how I used to be. Well, I still am like that. If you, seriously, like I don't even like the reading a book on the computer because I need to take my notes. I need to highlight. Let me show you my book right here. So y'all won't think, this is my life. This is one of the books I'm reading right now. You see those notes and pencils? Like, I live what I post. If you ever want to, some people don't live what they post. I live what I post. This is my book. I'm reading right now, right? Okay. So you see that? I'm old school. I like to have my book with my ink pen and my highlighter. And then 3 pages. No, then I got my notebook with notes. So know your teacher. You're welcome. Know your teacher is invested in being, yeah, I know, right, Shivani. They always make fun of me. Like, I got notebooks of notes. Know your teacher is invested in giving you everything I got. Everything I have, I'm willing to give. And in doing that, guess what happens? I get to get more. So then I have more to give. Yes, I gotta have a copy. And everybody, Cassandra Austin wrote an awesome book. Cassandra, make sure you leave the link to your book, to purchase your book in the group. I read her book. I had to text her. I was like, honey, I've been up for, I can pretty much read probably like a 300 or 400 page book in a day and a half. I read her book in 1 day. Awesome. It's amazing. Like when I tell you her story is so amazing. It's amazing. I'm not saying that because she's one of my students, because I had to tell her, because I told her, Cassandra, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If I don't like this book, I don't like this book. Awesome book. Awesome book. Make sure you pick it up. So I'm going to stop there right now because we're over 2 minutes. As I said, I'll leave all the links in there. Cassandra's going to share her link to her book. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Alrighty.